country where biosimilars are key for their success, to be successful in Turkey. So without due diligence or due delay, I would like to introduce Mr. Orziaki, and hopefully we'll hear from you afterwards in terms of session, questions, Q&A. So please listen carefully, and thank you.
Dear Chairman, dear representatives of authorities, academia and industry, dear guests, I would like to thank for the kind introduction, and I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me, for giving this talk in front of such a distinguished audience. First, I would like to start with talking about what benefits and opportunities will biosimilars bring to Turkey. Then I will move on to what the barriers and challenges are for the time being. And I will conclude with how can we deal with all of these challenges and barriers in our market. My talk today will be about the current state and its possible effects on the future outcomes of biosimilars in Turkey from the standpoint of a global leader, Sandoz, who had many breakthrough milestones and achievements throughout the development of biosimilars legislations worldwide, and a very strong pipeline. We feel it's very responsible and critical. We are very critical in terms of patient access to these wonderful drugs, wonderful life-saving medications, biologics, and therefore we need to take the opportunity anytime. When we find the opportunity, we have to talk and to communicate on biosimilars and their benefits. Because there is an increasing demand for these wonderful drugs, and they are not, for the time being, they are not as affordable as expected or as intended. Patient access is a very important issue and challenge for us. It is now, and it will be in the future as well. So we feel very responsible for the patients who need these medications. Therefore, we need to understand the concept of biosimilars first of all. We now know that biosimilars are not identical to reference products, and therefore we cannot define biosimilars as simple generic biologics. We also know that reference biologics cannot be defined as original products, because if you consider the development and approval pathway of biosimilars, they are also original products in terms of their patents and their pathways and their methodology which is used for their manufacturing. Our aim must be developing biosimilar products which are almost identical or very close to the reference biologics. But occasionally, biosimilars can prove themselves as better products compared to the reference biologics, which we call biobetters. Why is this term biobetter is so important? We consider biobetters, the biosimilars, a step forward in the breakthrough development of novel products in the journey starting from first generation to biobetters to next generation novel products. So therefore, it's important to understand that biosimilars are a part of the innovation. On top of that, biosimilars also foster the competition, which is also foundational for the innovation. it has been shown if we use indefinite monopolies, that would lead to stagnation in innovation. So therefore, the existence of competition through biosimilars is foundational for the innovation. And we now know that this competition would encourage the industry for the next wave biologic innovations. And patient access and patient benefits. This is a case from Europe. You see here how the patient access increased with the introduction of filgrastim biosimilars in Europe. Starting from 2008, September 2008, the patient access increased dramatically, and it amounted to 30% plus. So that means that patients, cancer patients, would be able to get their medications prophylactically as defined in alignment with the guidelines of cancer treatment. And if we think about economic burden, this is very important for the health systems in countries. I would like to give this example from Germany. With the introduction of biosimilar EPO, the cumulative savings achieved exceeded 50% in 5 years period of time. And good news is that the biologics market will continue to grow, and it will approach 15 billions of US dollars by 2020. The annual growth rate is expected to be around 50%. In Turkey, we have also biologics. And here you see the top 10 biologics listed. And they comprise 300 million euros, which is almost 7 to 8% of the entire RX market in Turkey. So therefore, they are very important in terms of their costs and availability to patients. If we look closer to the market, we see that the antineoplastics comprise 8% in terms of unit market share, and it is 40% in value market share, which makes them extremely critical in terms of their impact and effects on the biologics market. Here we see the development of biologics market from 2012 through 2015. We see the impact of antineoplastics, oncology drugs. When they went to the tender business, the picture in the IMS market changed a little bit. And we see that it is comprising, the biologics are comprising 1% of the unit market share, while it makes almost 15% of the value market share. And if you check the market share of biosimilars within the entire biotechnology market, we see the contrary. So here you can estimate that the economic burden, the impact on the economic burden will be positive, since the unit market share development is much more steeper compared to the market share development. And these are the 11 important biosimilars in Turkey. They make only, they make only 15 billion of euros in the total market. The competitive environment is changing very rapidly, and we are facing with important challenges which need to be addressed proactively. Among those challenges, the local guidances and global guidances are very much important to us. We have new terminologies like intended biosimilars in our vocabulary now. It's going to be very critical for us in the near future. I will touch upon this very soon. Famous speakers will touch upon the other challenges like substitution, interchangeability, and extrapolation throughout the following sessions of the summit. Now I would like to move on to the barriers and challenges we have. In fact, we believe that we have very useful and attractive tools like pharmacovigilance tools, which make us take care of the safety, drug safety and pharmacovigilance issues. But there can be some risks which can be hidden within these very useful and attractive tools. I will give you an example with the inverted equilateral black triangle, which is used worldwide. In EMA and in Turkey, we have different types of uses. And I will make the point on this case in order to explain how this risk can be hidden within this kind of very useful and important tools. You see here an example from EMA, and you see that the black equilateral black triangle is as small as the tip of a nail, so close. But in Turkey, you have to use the same triangle with a very large size, and you have to put it anywhere the brand name appears. This marker shows us that this medicinal product is subject to additional monitoring. In case of Omnitrope is a biosimilar which has been approved in 2011 in Turkey, but we have a very large experience which is over 10 years worldwide and in EMA region. In EMA, Omnitrope, which is a growth hormone product, doesn't have this black triangle as a marker for additional monitorization. After 15th of April 2014, when the new regulation, the updated regulation and pharmacovigilance guidelines took effect, Omnitrope should have this black triangle as a marker for additional monitorization. So irrespective from the time of experience, from the duration of experience, and without any exception, all biosimilars in Turkey must have this marker. But in case of reference biologic products, if the reference biologic product has been filed one day before 15th of April 2014, for instance, 14th of April, even if they wouldn't have this experience on the marketplace in terms of safety, they will not wear this marker, the inverted black triangle. So in the marketplace, from a competitive perspective, that would be a barrier for the biosimilars. That would be a barrier for the patient access, because we don't know to what extent the physicians and patients will take care of this kind of markers and warnings. And nowadays, we hear about that there will be some measures to be taken for products with black triangle, like banning the sampling of this product. So this can be also another barrier on the market. Another example is related to the WHO proposal for the biologic qualifier. We received the revised version of this recommendation as of June 2015 this year. And you see here the reaction of local pharma association. Their point is that we don't need to have this BQ, biologic qualifier, in terms of a new naming systematic, since the traceability system in Turkey and pharmacovigilance system is capable and intact in terms of detecting any safety issue or adverse events associated with biosimilars. And this shouldn't be applied, implemented in Turkey before the vast majority of the regulators agrees in consensus that it is needed and that there is a real rationale for that. And they call for a moratorium regarding the WHO proposal in order to discuss this issue in much detail. But in fact, the big pharma authority, the big health authorities around the world already adopted BQ approach into their legislation. In case of Australia and Japan, they adopted that with some variations and with their own individual BQ standards. And recently, FDA published their own naming system, however, with some variations again. In fact, it wasn't WHO's intention to use BQ, biologic qualifier, that would discriminate the product on the market. But clearly you see here that SNDZ refers to Sandoz. So therefore, any person who sees this naming, this BQ, he will or she will understand that it's going to be a Sandoz product. EMA didn't completely deny this option, but they will not use it in practice until a strong rationale for the implementation proves to be valid. Why is that so? They recently ran a prescriber survey in Europe, including more than 400 prescribers, and it came out that more than 80% of the prescribers report an adverse event using the brand name, and almost 70% of prescribers prescribe using brand name. So therefore, it is not necessary to focus on BQ and naming system at all. Unlike Europe, the US system, the US market is a commodity market. It is valid for the bioequivalents and in generics, that there will be no brand name. But in case of biologics and biosimilars, it is allowed to have a brand name. And in US, the first biologic biosimilar has this opportunity. So you see here 5 different identifiers for a drug. In terms of traceability, be retrospectively, be prospectively, there will be no problem with these identifiers. If we wouldn't have this BQ, it would work well. So it's not comparable to generics in the US. In case of MENA and Turkey, on top of the other 5 identifiers, we also have this famous 2D code. What does it mean? 2D code is a very nice drug traceability system tool which enables us to monitor any drug from during the journey at each step, from manufacturing through pharmacy and to patient's disposal. So I will give you an example and show how it works. Simply, patient can check with the 2D code and get the whole information which is related to the product. It is serial number, it is batch number, it is the price, and all of them are updated. So it works very efficiently. And you can have as much information as you wish within this 2D code in terms of traceability and pharmacovigilance follow-up. If if you talk about the queue, which one will be our option? And if we consider that the regulation is not consistent among regulators around the world, will it really provide us with the intended simplicity in terms of traceability and pharmacovigilance? That's the question that remains to be answered. In fact, if you consider that there is an inherent batch-to-batch and manufacturing shift variability between both similar and reference products in biopharmaceuticals, our proposal would be to have the BQ for each batch, irrespective from being biosimilar or a reference product. But will it add simplicity? Will it add efficiency to the system? That's the question. We don't believe so. And we don't believe that it will add something to the intention of World Health Organization in that regard. If you would have so many PQs and different PQs for the same compound in different regulatory environments, that would create confusion among physicians and patients. And you see here in dark blue, in blue, the countries and the regulatory environments where the biosimilars regulations have been enacted. But in terms of being updated, there are huge differences. In some regions, there are, for instance, there are guidelines, therapeutic area or product-related guidelines. In others, they are absent. So we go through many different steps and challenges throughout the development and approval process of biosimilars in order to achieve high-quality products at the global and local level. It is important to understand if the local regulations are not that strict compared to global regulations, we would surely have a local market entry, but we would fail in terms of penetration into the global markets. This is a very important discussion nowadays. To what extent, how strict the guidelines and the regulations in Turkey will be the next step. If it would be too strict, only few medications, few biosimilars will manage to reach the market. Our proposal is to be just right in terms of the strictness of the stringency of the guidelines in order to make the biosimilars achieve this goal. Recently, we heard about intended biosimilars with the call of World Health Organization for the reassessment of biotherapeutics approved via inadequate regulatory pathways. So this is a trait for the biosimilars which are under development or developed in national environment, in local environment. How can we do with all of this? We all want to have biotechnology now. We all want it to be affordable and sustainable, and we want to make them of high quality, and we want them to have in-house. But if you allow me to make an analogy with a double chopstick ice cream, you never know where to eat if the regulatory standards are of high quality in order to support a fair competition in the market. So we need to understand that we have to explain that biosimilars will ensure patient access to high quality and life-saving biologics, and they will give rise to innovation of novel biopharmaceuticals. We must understand that there may be no clinically relevant differences beyond batch-to-batch variability between similar and reference biologics in terms of efficacy, safety, and quality attributes. And we must be prepared for the startup developers because they will need to to consult and tailor with authorities their clinical study plans in order to reduce residual uncertainties and to get support from them for the totality of evidence. And the authorities must be prepared for therapeutic area or product-related scientific commissions. Industry must support the authorities in that regard in order to get this support from the authority. And drug traceability and pharmacovigilance systems in Turkey are capable to detect any safety pharmacovigilance issue which may be associated with biologics without the need of additional measures like biologic qualifier, which we believe to make it more confusing and sophisticated. And the biosimilar campaigns and hidden stigma must be prevented. It shall not be allowed in order, because it could harm policies which were developed to establish biotechnology in Turkey. Incentives need to be fair and supportive to establish a level playing field for both biosimilars and referred biologics in order to avoid transformation of the sector. And regulations have to be set to match global standards in well-regulated markets in order to ensure competitive advantage of biosimilars in larger global markets. Last but not least, both national regulators and industries shall ensure that the invented biosimilars at local level do not fall into the so-called intended biosimilars category globally. And I will finish my presentation with the famous word of Charles Darwin, which proves itself very often, and give the word to the chairman. Thank you very much for your attention.